Okay, it is the last Sunday for our annual giving campaign, and so our co-chair is Jamie McCurry, and he's the closing man, right? He's going to come up here and offer the last words on annual giving, and then after he speaks, I'll tell you how to turn in your pledge cards. Come on up, Jamie.
So I feel like I've been set up, and my voice, if it sounds like I was in Jacksonville yesterday, that's because I was. And Melanie asked me to do this, and I told her, I always like to give a sermon. She said, that's not what we're doing. So that was a negative. And then I said, well, I can talk about football, or I can talk about the poorest. And she said, no, that's not it either. She's just got to talk about why you give and why you love St. Thomas. I said, that's cool. I can do that too. But I'm not good at writing out speeches because I have to talk a lot at the podiums, but it's always with like a PowerPoint or it's about the poor, and it's easy. So forgive me for just having some random thoughts here. But also say, to start with, that I should not be the closer because everybody that's been before me has been fantastic, and they should have all been the closers. The other misnomer about this is the word that she used just now, co-chair. What I did was I signed about 300 letters, and that was easy. So thank you for co-chairing with me and doing all the work, Melanie. It's been a fantastic job. Why do I or we and my family give and support St. Thomas? Well, one, there's a lot of words I wrote down, but the unconditional love that St. Thomas has always shown us, and the patience with my family as we learn how to acolyte and do things like that and run around the altar. But there's really no end to the list of the reasons why. I think when I have done these talks before and have treated it more like a sermon, which is probably not what anybody wanted me to do, I focused on things like Scripture and why do I think we have an obligation to give. And there's no shortage of definitions, answers, explanations as to what our expectations are in Scripture in terms of giving. But that's not really what anybody wants me to focus on. I thought about all the other things that we support, we, my family, supports, and things that I get asked to fundraise for or whatever they may be, the arts, charities, et cetera, et cetera. And to the extent that we participate in those and do so a lot, there's a very pregnant question to me of if all those other things are important, why would this not be the most important? Why would this not be where most of the, as I said, patience with my family comes from? But why would St. Thomas not be the greatest beneficiary of the blessings that God has bestowed upon our family? Her mother is not here. She chose to come to the latter service, so fantastic. See, it's easy material when you got this little side thing going on, whatever. Totally thrown off here. But anyways, St. Thomas should always be, in my view, our family's first priority in terms of the return of thanks and blessings that we have been given. And one devotion, I'm not going to read the whole devotion, but just one that I had this week that kind of struck me. And the author here is a guy named Dave Smith, and he's reflecting on a passage in Genesis where Joseph's talking to his brothers. And not in quoting the scripture, he writes, "For many, faith is more difficult in times in which there is abundance of the false securities of this world. When we are comfortable and things are going well, we can deceive ourselves into believing our success is due to our own intelligence, skill, and hard work. We begin to rely upon our own abilities as we neglect to live understanding that all of life is on loan from God. It is God who supplies our every need and every breath." And I think that Melanie spoke about in her letter to us about how great things have been over the last few years, and how even in tough times we're really doing well. And I think that it's important for us to remember that it's not just because of our own creativity and hard work and, success because we deserved it, but because God is so good to us. And that in and of itself is a reason for us to give and to celebrate that by giving back. I also think the rest of this devotion reflects on how it's sometimes easier to be faithful in hard times. And I know individually and as a church, we all have had hard times, and that's what we kind of find ourselves falling on our knees in prayer and asking for help. I'm not sure that we're not going to have some hard financial times here ahead, and we're going to be challenged in our faith, but shouldn't this not be where our priority is in our giving and in sharing and giving back to one another, because we are a family. And in my random thoughts and writing words down, things that I wrote scripture and I said the other things that we do. But I really think that gratitude and family were the kind of the key words that I wrote down, reflecting on why this is important to us and to me personally. Because y'all are our family. You support our family whether they're good acolytes or not. You support our family whether we're sick or not. And there's not a part of my life that I have not remembered St. Thomas. I've been here all my life. But it's always a place that I'm comfortable. It's always a place where I know it's kind of a judgment-free zone. And I think that's a wonderful testimony to this place and to these people. And that's it, right? That's why we do this. It's the same reason I bought 2 cars in the last week for kids, because I love them. And I shouldn't have gotten them cars, but that's what we do for each other as a family. We support each other. Sorry. And that's why I give to St. Thomas. So thank you for indulging that. Love you.